Well, the WNBA season is gearing up for the second half of the season, and the Indiana Fever are back at practice, preparing for their stretch run headed into the playoffs. And today after practice, you won't believe what Christie Sides and Caitlin Clark was up to. But before we get off into today's podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend. Well, the second half of the WNBA season is about 2 weeks away. Now, you know the WNBA is on break from the All-Star break in the Olympics. And today and yesterday, the Indiana Fever are back at practice, gearing up for the second half of the season to make a push for the playoffs. Now, right now, they're in that 7th spot, and their record is 11-15 at this current time. Going into the All-Star break, you know, they dropped one against the 12th-seeded Dallas Wings, and, you know, that had a lot of people hot. That had a lot of people coming at Christie Sides saying, how you going to drop a game like this after you come off of beating the New York Liberty? And Caitlin Clark had the assist record of 19 assists. Now, we all know what Christie Sides has brought to the table, the scrutiny she's been under, people going at her game in and game out, saying that she's not the right coach for Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. She don't make no in-game adjustments. At first, the narrative was, why are you taking Caitlin Clark out of the game? Now the narrative is, why are you playing Caitlin Clark 40 minutes? You know, I don't know what the relationship is between Christie Sides and Caitlin Clark. You know, she's been under the microscope ever since she's took over the realms of the team. And they drafted Caitlin Clark #1 in the WNBA draft. But the media availability was there today, and a lot of players spoke. Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell. And what Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell said was it was good to get away. You know, it's good for your mental. And Kelsey Mitchell said it's good to get away, not to see the WNBA court for 2 or 3 days, just to reset, get your thoughts together and then get back at it and ramp things up. But, when you take a break and you get back at it and you go hard, you tend to get sore over time. So they spoke with Caitlin Clark, and Caitlin Clark has some interesting things to say. She said now she feels like she got her legs underneath of her. Now she feels like that she can come into the second half of the season and she can go all out. And she said the break was good for her, relaxing with her family, with her boyfriend and things like that. But, her name was still in the media because of what's going on over Paris. The Olympic team, they only drew like 12,000, fans. The viewership was low, but that's either here nor there. But the interesting thing came from Christie Sides. When the media availability was made available to her, she made some interesting remarks. And you guys, you got to take a listen to what she said, because in that soliloquy that she stated, she revealed something that probably went over a lot of people's heads. So let's take a listen to what Christie Sides said. And then once we get done listening to what Christie Sides says, we'll come back and we'll continue the show. Take a listen.
Specific focus. What's this week going to be like today?
Yeah, just, we just keep talking about just kind of getting the muck off. Like, I wanted them to go and just relax, but as a pro athlete, a lot of them aren't going to do that. But, I think they did go get some rest, just looking to get their legs under them.
Have you learned from past Olympic breaks what it takes to come out of that stronger in any way?
Yeah, I had some that were on the Olympic team the last time I was in an Olympic break situation. So we were down, some of our top players. This is great. This is great. We have, other than Christy Wallace, which we were missing her, but good luck to her. We're able to get a lot of good work in, a lot of good breakdown stuff in that's just going to help us in the long run.
Kind of an awkward approach of having to wait so long for a game. Can you do too much with them right now?
We kind of, it's a balancing act. It is, because that's a long time before you play. So it's just about finding ways to get better, finding ways to keep having fun playing basketball, even doing
Take a listen to what she says.
Court. We've really got a lot of things.
Pay close attention.
Players that are non-basketball related, just team stuff for team bonding and chemistry. So, and they get into that stuff, so it's fun.
What do you hope is the feel for the next couple of weeks? Like a mini training camp combined with, Caitlin mentioned how there's already that chemistry. Now you're just trying to build on
Clark
Yeah, I
right
think
now.
you can keep getting better with that chemistry.
Listen to what she
sat and
says.
talked with her and just got her thoughts on what some of that is like, what we need to do, what she thinks these next couple weeks. And that's just what we keep talking about. The more they play together, the more that chemistry just builds, And
Now, I hope y'all guys pay close attention to what Christie Sides said. She said she had a private sit down with Caitlin Clark just to go over her feel and what she thinks in the direction of the team. So if a lot of people are not paying attention, that probably went over their head. But Christie Sides just revealed that she had a private sit down with Caitlin Clark to discuss the team's direction and what she thinks they need to do to make this playoff push to get in the playoffs in the second half of the season, and on different situations on how she can help the team and where she sees fit. Now, like I said, we all give Christie Sides a hard time. A lot of people don't give her a fair shake. I was one to say, hey, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. At one point, I thought Christie Sides had turned the corner because of what Indiana, they started out 1-8, then they went on a 4-game win streak. And I thought Christie Sides was making some in-game adjustments, and she was, getting everybody involved, just not Caitlin Clark. She took Caitlin Clark off the ball for a minute. Kelsey Mitchell was bringing the ball up, Erica Wheeler, and they was running the offense to Aaliyah Boston. Leah Boston had one of her best games when she had like 27 and 14, and they led the team to the victory over the Atlanta Dream. And they continued a 3-game win streak after that. So they had a total of a 4-game win streak until they ran into Chicago Sky. And they had that game in control. They was up as much as 15. Chicago Skies went on a 12-0 run at the end of the third quarter, led by Angel Reese. And a lot of people came at Christie Sides talking about, how do you not call a timeout when you seeing your team is struggling and another team is going on a run and you didn't want to stop the bleeding? So a lot of people came at Christie Sides in that way, was saying that she's not the right coach for Caitlin Clark. She's doing Caitlin Clark a disservice. She's not coaching to her best of her ability. She's not putting Caitlin Clark in situations where she can be more effective. But then, Caitlin Clark, slow start. She started picking it up. But like I said, she still got to bring the turnovers down from handling the ball. A lot of people say, well, her turnovers are caused by her teammates dropping the ball. But if you guys know basketball, that's not a turnover on Caitlin Clark. That's a turnover on the person that got the pass and they dribble the ball out of bounds. That's a turnover on them. That's not getting, put in the stat sheet as a turnover for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark turns the ball over for some bad passes, getting the ball stole from her and things like that. But it was very interesting that, Christie Sides sat down and talked with her star point guard to see how, this team can get better and what they can do in the second half of the season to make sure they can secure a playoff spot and get into the playoffs. So I thought that was very interesting. And a lot of people are going to say, well, she should have did this long time ago. Is it too late that Christie Sides sat down and talked with Caitlin Clark about basketball and X and O's and what they can do together to help the Indiana Fever win ball games? But I thought that was a telltale sign that, Christie Sides is opening up to get, some answers and some direction from her star point guard and Caitlin Clark. So a lot of people, say that, Christie Sides needs to make better adjustments. She needs to come up with a better game plan. She needs to come up with how to get Caitlin Clark more involved and for Caitlin Clark to really flourish in the fourth quarter when the games are tight and see what Caitlin Clark is capable of doing, because we know what Caitlin Clark is capable of doing from her Iowa days. Big shot heroics, winning games on her own, but we have not seen that in the WNBA just yet. So hopefully the second half of the season that these two can put their pride aside and come together as a collective group, Indiana as a whole, and do some things. Now, like I said, we all know what Caitlin Clark is capable of, but Christie Sides, she's the head coach, and she got to push the right buttons, and she got to bring it all together. So we're going to see what this meeting between the two, we're going to see what Caitlin Clark takes out of this meeting and how she puts it and integrates it into the second half of the season in her play. And let's see if, Christie Sides can put this ship in the right direction. But you guys let me know what y'all think about the little private set-down meeting that Christie Sides and Caitlin Clark had. But this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. We're going to catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.